So within this 1 hour, I will hope I have about 20 slides. I'm not going to go through all unless it is necessary for me to explain. So I expect more questions coming from you, or maybe some sharing and some ideas for us to improve and so on. Do feel free to share anything, stop me at any time that you would like to ask questions or say anything about it. Okay, our topic today is the new 12+1 engineering program outcomes, what you need to know. Why 12+1? 12 plus entrepreneurship. Yes, Dr. Azwan ni otai akademik juga. Nah, 12 plus entrepreneurship. 12 EAC outcomes plus entrepreneurship. Meraihkan UPM punya hasrat untuk melahirkan entrepreneurs, ada entrepreneurship skills. Okay, whether you are a good researcher, you have a good admin post, there is no such thing as good admin post. There are admin posts or active with industry and community. Always remember that you are an educator first. You, before everything else comes in, you are an educator first, or in any of this industry, whatever it is, you are an educator. Be an excellent one. Maksudnya bukan buat cikai-cikai je, buat gitu-gitu je, just fulfill hak. Mana suruh buat, kita buat je lah, kan? But you have to be good in one because we are in academia. That's our role. Okay, the first and foremost is educator. Whether you are educated in academics, where you are an educator as a researcher, you are an educator as having admin post, active community, educator, you are always an educator. Don't deny that and take that into your heart. Always remember this. Okay, anything you do, you remember this. Okay. Ni dia, the content. I would not say this is content, but I would say this is the scope of the presentation today, the scope of what we are going to learn to do today. It is always involving or cycle, I would say. In anything that we do in academics or in everyday life pun, plan, execute, evaluate, improve. 4 major things, process that you have to do. So between the, in every components, there is its own process. Nak plan ada proses, execute ada proses, evaluate you have process, improve also you have process. So basically what we are going to, what we have been doing, what we are doing now, and what we are going to do next will be based on these 4 components, 4 processes: plan, execute, evaluate, and improve. Okay, do you know that we have the philosophy of engineering education at the Faculty of Engineering UPM? How many of you do know about this? Okay, kalau ada soalan. How many of you do know about this philosophy? That it exists. Actually, I presented this in our faculty meeting in, I think, 2020 or 2021, but it got approved until the presentation that the faculty did to the Senate. So this is the philosophy of engineering education in our faculty, derived and adopted from Falsafah Pendidikan Negara, National Education Philosophy. Okay, the latest one. So this is deriving from that, and the aspiration goes like this. Okay, before we start talking about POs, this is what you need to know. This is presented. This was presented by Prof No before in one of the trainings that we did when we did our curriculum review last time. Terminology number 1, we start from the bottom. WA. WA is actually program outcomes ataupun dalam EAC standard, it says graduate attributes. What we want the students to get at the end of the program. Okay, at the end of the right after the program ends. This is program outcomes. WA, what WA? Maybe Washington Accord. Okay. WA. So when people say WA, if you go to trainings or whatever, some people will use maybe WA, some people will use directly program outcomes, PO. Some people will use PLO, program learning outcomes, okay? But it means the same thing. Now, what is WK? Dr. Salah said WK quite a few times already tadi kan. Knowledge profile. Okay. WK stands for knowledge profile. K ni knowledge. EA means complex engineering activities ataupun EA engineering activities. WP stands, its terminology used for problem solving, complex problem solving. So P kat sini problem solving, A kat sini activities, engineering activities, K here is knowledge, A here is actually program outcomes. Okay. So I don't want to go in detail of this. You should be able now, or you can read, or you can just remember that program outcomes is actually what the students are expected to perform, to achieve by the time of graduation. That means by 4 years. It is different from PEO, program educational objective. Program educational objective, normally we measure it from 3 to 5 years after graduation. Ni after. Okay. So as I said, program outcomes is actually measured by the time of graduation. So 4 years we measure, and PEO is different in a sense that we measure it 3 to 5 years after 3 to 5 years after graduation. Okay. This is the summary of the program outcomes formulated by IA ataupun yang tadi itulah yang dekat international Washington Accord, group ni lah yang formulate the program outcomes. And the summary is in a sense that how they formulate is they group the POs or WAs into 3 categories. Okay. Category number 1 is on the analysis of problems and synthesis. So PO, ada a group of POs catering for this one. There are a group of POs catering for responsibility of the engineering practice. Okay. With regard to yang kita sebutkan tadi itulah, cultural, health, safety and so on. And also ethical responsibilities. So there is a group of POs, there is a group of POs that cater for this responsibility. Okay. And there are also POs that caters for individual attributes that are useful for the students to practice in engineering workplace, macam teamwork, communication, project management and lifelong learning. So these 3 groups of PO categories are in the 12 POs, EAC POs. So what are the 12 engineering POs as stated in the EAC Standard 2020? These are listed directly from the sentences and everything taking directly from EAC Standards 2020. PO1 is engineering knowledge. You have to read this description. Some people, they just remember, okay, PO10 communication, or just remember PO10 communication je. PO9 individual and teamwork. No. You have to read the description of the PO, not just remember yang part ni je. Part ni dia bagi ni, investigate modern to usage ni, memanglah simple kan nak remember kan. But you need to read this because it explains the angle or the depth of the PO. Contoh lah. Okay, let's have a look lah. Contoh lah. PO10 communication. Kalau kita baca PO10 communication, kita buat presentation je. Semua buat presentation kan? Tapi let's have a look at the explanation that says communicate effectively on complex engineering activities with engineering community and with society, and able to comprehend, write, present, give and receive instructions. Principal duk buat presentation saja untuk PO communication. Sebab communication. Baca tak? Lain kali baca no. So we try to fulfill yang PO ni nak apa sebenarnya. Bukan communication just present. Tak present pun boleh communicate. Boleh write, boleh give instruction, receive instruction, comprehend pun boleh. Not necessary semua benda kena present, but it is easier to present because itulah it is clearer, banyak benda kita boleh assess in one time. Okay, the other things like you can read this and please read this. For example, design solutions, PO3. Design solutions for complex engineering problems and design systems, components or process, or with appropriate consideration for public health and safety and so on. Ni PO3 baca nah. Okay, as I said just now, this is also summary of the PO categories. PO 1, 2, 3, 5, focusing on the category of analysis of problem and synthesis of solution. So if you are assigned PO 1, 2, 3, 5, you are actually focusing on analysis of problem and synthesis of solution. But if you are assigned responsibility, if you are assigned PO 6, 7, 4, 6 dua kali. 6, 7 and 4. Ada satu lagi ni. Tertinggal silap Kalau if you are assigned these POs, that means you have to cater for the responsibilities of the engineer when they are going to practice. They need this PO in order for them to practice well. So what are the required skills, other skills at the place that they need? Environment, understanding of environment and sustainability, ethics, engineering ethics, lifelong learning, teamwork. If you look at this category, it is very similar to kemahiran insaniah. Kemahiran insaniah, this part soft skills, but not necessarily just the soft skills, but ada juga skill-skill lain yang involved. So these are the PO categories, 3 ni. So the POs are formulated in such a way that it caters all these 3 categories. Ni dia. What is the connection? What is the connection between PO, between WK, between WP? I already mentioned that WA is the program outcome, right? Okay, all these WA1 sampai 12, 1 to 12, these are all program outcomes outlined in EAC Standard 2020. Okay, WA1 to WA12. As I mentioned before, so there are categories, 3 categories of POs, okay, and WA1 to 5, okay, 1 to 5, catering for analysis of problems and synthesis of solution. Category number 2 is on responsibilities of the engineers, then it is in PO 6 to 8. Ni 3 PO yang color biru ni, 6 to 8 is for responsibilities. And the third one is the one that is required in the workplace, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is, as I mentioned before, nothing new. Maybe nothing new as of last slide. Sama. Okay. But what is knowledge profile? Within these POs, there are POs that need there are POs that need to cater for knowledge profile, WK, not all, but there are a set. There is a set here, as we put, I highlighted here in this box, WA1 to WA8 would require knowledge profile, WK, and the knowledge profile is listed next to it. Ni in blue ni, WK1 to 4. If you are doing PO1, you have to cater for WK1 to 4. Boleh pilih, nanti kita tengok. Okay, ada part yang wajib, ada part yang boleh pilih. Ada minimum dia. So design WK5, investigation WK8, no options here. Modern tools WK6, engineers and society WK7, environment and sustainability WK7, ethics WK7. PO1 dan 2, okay, cater for WK1 to 4. Okay, that is knowledge profile. There are POs that require WK, not all. Okay, to summary dia. Okay, what's next? What else? There are POs that needs to cater WK, but also needs to cater for WP. Within the knowledge profile, there is also complex problem solving involved within that WK. Okay, WA1 to PO1 sampai PO7 would require WP. So you have PO, number 1, you have PO, you have WK, within WK you have WP yang complex problem solving. Okay, except PO8, okay, ethics, except ethics tak perlu buat complex engineering problem solving. But the rest yang kat dalam WK ni, you have to do WP. Okay. What else? Complex engineering activities for PO10 communication. Not anywhere else. Not anywhere else. PO10 wajib buat EA. Apa benda pula EA? Kita tengok ada komponen-komponen. There are descriptions on EA, there are descriptions on WP as well as WK. Okay? So, okay nah? At this part? Okay kan? Lagi saya jawab nah yang entrepreneurship tu. Okay. What is knowledge? Okay, certain POs 1 to 8. So knowledge profile is the broad characteristics of the different components of the knowledge embodied in a program. That means it is a broad and there are different components, WK itself, WK1, WK2 sampai WK8. Dia pecah pula lagi. So there are 8 components in WK. So it relates between engineering specialist knowledge, engineering fundamentals, natural sciences and mathematics. Dalam within WK, this is about WK knowledge part. Knowledge part. Within WK, there is conceptual knowledge, the what and why. This is the conceptual knowledge. Why do we have mathematics in our program? Because all this rely on mathematics kan. Why do we have specialist knowledge? Why do we have engineering fundamentals, whatnot? And why do we have courses catering for natural sciences? Why do we need this? Because this is a conceptual part of the knowledge. And this is the contextual part. The other part of it, WK1, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 WKs catering for conceptual, the other 3 catering for contextual. There is application of knowledge. You have all this fundamental conceptual knowledge, but how to apply? That's why WK5, 6, 7 comes in. So application of knowledge in engineering design, engineering practice, and the role of engineering in society. Okay, so what's next? Sourcing of knowledge. The student will have knowledge in conceptual knowledge, will have contextual knowledge. So what's next is to source the knowledge. Where? Through the research literature. Okay, WK8 ni. Okay, what is WP? Complex problem study kan. In POs, you have to cater for WK. Whenever you need to cater for WK, you need to cater for WP. There are certain POs that caters for WP as well, excluding ethics. So this is complex engineering problems. WP1, it says depth of knowledge required. This is wajib, syarat wajib. Syarat wajib, you have to have WP1 plus some or all of WP2 to WP7. It can be WP2, it can be WP3, combination with WP1. Okay, some means more than one. Some means more than one. Okay. Some people interpreted this. I mean, most of us you say some, sebab in EAC standard it doesn't say how many. So some here means two or more lah. Cannot be one. Two or more. Okay, sebab tu WP1 plus two more. Okay, in our curriculum kan. So you can choose any of these WP that is related or you want to address. Okay. Contoh, range of conflicting requirements, depth of analysis required. But you need to read this as well. Have no obvious solution and require abstract thinking, originality in analysis to formulate suitable models. It's not just you, okay, I will do WP1, WP2, and WP3 looking at this attribute, but not reading this. Because they will be the scoping of this WP. A range of conflicting requirements, what does it mean? It involves wide ranging of conflicting technical, engineering, and other issues. So you need to read this as well. Always refer to this. Not just the attribute, but also the description here. Okay. Interdependence, WP7 contohnya, are high-level problems including many component parts or sub-problems. The details will be more in Bengkel 2, workshop number 2 on how you would like to address this. But for today's purpose, is actually looking at the connections between WP, WK, EA, and also PO, CO, PO. Okay. Now, attributes of engineering activities. When you need to address PO10, communication, PO10, you need to choose between EA1 to EA5. So which one to choose? Kan? Which one to choose? So kena study lah yang 4 ni. We have gone through the curriculum review and everybody, I hope everybody involved in the curriculum review by now see the connections between EA, WK, WP with PO and CO. So some or all, they sebut some or all of EA1 to EA5. That means some more than one no, tak boleh satu ya. So at least two. So that means whenever there is PO10, there should be at least 2 EAs. Kalau rajin buat lebih. Kan? Ada juga yang rajin tengok buat lebih. It's okay. Because you have to make sure that EA1 to EA5 should be addressed throughout the program for the 4 years. Now, our current program yang before this, in the last cycle of the last 2 cycle of the curriculum 2016 to 2020, we have 14 POs. At that particular time, the faculty saw the needs to revise. Before that lain kan, revise this. Okay, at this particular time curriculum there are still 12 POs. Okay, there are still 12 POs, but we make it to be 14 POs. So 12 plus 2 at this curriculum. Plus means 12 is the EAC ones, but yang lain-lain tu kita adjust. And including entrepreneurship, this PO is at the university level. So that's why kita meraihkan, we put this entrepreneurship into our list of POs. Okay. This is the new program outcomes. The last cycle that we did last year. On curriculum 2021 and 2025, it just started. We are going to the next to the second semester of using this curriculum for our first year students. Look, what changes that we did for this time, for this curriculum. Look at this, look at this EAC PO. I use PO for curriculum 2020 ni. PO4 and PO5, both are investigation. And in EAC standard, it is one PO, but we split it because at that particular time, you want to design and conduct experiment, one PO, and also the other one is to investigate with relation to the research methods on this valid conclusion. But in actual EAC standard, it's only one PO. Okay, there is so we go back to the one PO, leaving this as EAC4 in this new curriculum. So combine balik, combine balik. Yang tadi tu apa 3 dan 4. 3 dan 4 4 dah jadi 4 dan 5 yang kurikulum lepas. So 3 dan 4, 3 satu PO, 4 satu PO. Okay. Alright, so investigate complex problem using a research-based knowledge and research method, including design. So part ni, design and conduct experiment that we took out in the previous curriculum. This one we took out, but this time we combined it and leave it. It is easier for us. It is more convenient for us to actually map this directly into EAC POs. Okay. There is one change that we do for this time. The other one is ethics. Okay, if I go back to this, ethics, the dominant domain is affective. Okay, the dominant domain of PO9 ethics in 2020 curriculum, as stated here. Okay, ethics here, A. But this time it becomes C because it is in knowledge profile domain, knowledge profile category. Okay, C. So dominant domain. It does not mean that you cannot put A, affective domain. No. Don't be ni nak bubuh A takut dekat sini ni. Sebab dominant domain dah tukar. Dominant means dominant. Dominance means the most prioritized one. Okay, but you can always add A dalam CO pun tak ada masalah. Okay, effective is also catered in here because you want them to perhaps embrace the ethical principles. So you put A in your COs. Okay, so as I said, 12 plus 1, why 12 plus 1? Why do we call 12 plus 1? Last time people don't know the differences. That's why we put 12 plus 1. I would say 13 POs. Which one POs that belongs to EAC? Which of the PO belongs to UPM? Tak boleh jawab. So dia kata EAC ada 14 PO. No. EAC ada 12 saja. Tapi kita yang formulate that to be more ke less ke. It's up to us lah, to the university. And why is it now 12 plus 1? Because we address 12 EAC POs and 1 university punya vision. Okay, now CO. COs, the changes. Okay. The top one is apa? Curriculum mana? Which curriculum? The top one.
Kurikulum lama.
Kurikulum lama. Lama ni nak jawab.
2016, 2020.
Okey, 2016, 2020 lama. Okey, dah nampak masuk answers kan? 2016, 2020. This is yang lama tu tak sebenarnya kita buang dah. Kita mesti pakai lagi untuk cohort kita yang tinggal ni. Okey. So they are still using the C4 KK. Nampak tak differences dia dengan yang baru down here? This is the big change that we thanks to Prof Noor and inilah apa tu JKKU and so on for accepting this. It's not easy to transform to, and you know, it's not easy to convince people that we want to do things differently in UPM ni kan. Selalu orang engineering ni selalu buat lain daripada orang. Memanglah daripada dekan-dekan kita dulu, we are proud because we brought the requirements of our own requirements to be adopted in the formal document, kan? Bila when you see this, you see C4KK, CS, A3EM, apa semua ni, where is WK, where is WP, tak nampak, kan? So bila tak nampak, if you don't see this in your syllabus, then people tend to tak buat lah. Dia buat masa dia nak isi borang apa tu, moderation. People, I mean in 2020 curriculum, you still need to do WK, WP tau. Not just the new curriculum. It has been there for quite some time. I think few years back lagi masa kita buat curriculum tu kan, but nobody did it seriously. Betul tak? Kan? So people only put WK, WP only in moderation punya form. Additional attachment. Lampiran berapa, BR berapa tu. Only at that particular stage, but not at the design stage, not at the planning stage, not at the implementation stage. So that's why we found out that okay, this time we are going to change the way the writing of course outcomes. The writing convention has to change to make sure that when you see this, when you get the syllabus, you know that you have to cater for WK, WP and juga EA kalau ada. So the design of PO, CO, WK, WP, EA from the beginning. The plan starts from the beginning in the curriculum design, not just at the borang moderation. Dr. Syamsiah betul. Yes. Isi borang moderation blank sat bila isi WP, WK. Kan? So this is the things that we all experience, and then we do things better this time hopefully lah, kan? So Dr. Amin kata kiranya dalam syllabus baru WP, EA, WK replaces KKK, CS, TS, LS. I would not say replace macam tu saja, because all these kemahiran insania already in our POs. Memang dah cater pun, ada 3 kategori tadi kan, yang kemahiran insania, the third one, the skills that the graduate will have to grasp for to be used during masa kat workplace nanti kan, kita dah ada. Actually dia embed sebenarnya. We support soft skills, but we address soft skills through the POs that we need to cater in EAC. Okay, now the mapping. This is what we came up last time on the mapping. When we were asked to map PO, CO, WK, EA apa semua, nak buat macam mana kan, tak pandai nak buat kan. So that's why kita, the group of Empaka ni, penyelaras akademik, mesyuarat bachelor came up with the guide. So mai kita guna guide tu, mai kita tengok saat guide tu nah. Saat ini jadual pemetaan, I will come back to this ya. So the guide that I'm going to show you ataupun yang you dapat tu will be used to map this, to produce the jadual 15 in the curriculum review. Sana saya stop share. I'm going to share with you the guide. I tunjuk guide Ustaz. Okay, let's see. Mana dia? Tak tahu guide tu. Ni dia. Okay, nampak kan? So make sure you get the recent one, because I've seen people still using the not so recent one. The recent one is actually version 26 of April 2021. 26 of April. If you use the previous version, because there are changes to the previous version, so make sure you get the.
Yang ni lama ke? Ada update 26 April Prof?
Ya 26 of April last update.
Yang
kita bawa, yang kita guna untuk kita bawa curriculum review. Before that kan ada few version kan. So this is the latest one, updated on 26 of April. Yang kita guna before kita pergi Senate tu, before kita pergi JKKU kita dah guna yang ni, tapi mungkin ada lepas pandang kan.
Betul.
Okay, so this is the panduan, panduan pemetaan, the guide to put WK mana, WP mana kan. Okay, remember the slide that I've shown you before, the connections between PO, WP, WK, EA kan. With respect to that, Jawatan Kuasa Mesyuarat Bachelor has come up with this, and we have given thoughts, deep thoughts, what WK, what WP, and what taxonomy level is, what would be the best, what would be the best at this particular time for WK, WP, and also taxonomy level when you are given POs, when you are assigned POs to your course. Okay. If you are assigned PO1, kita guna writing convention EAC1, because in ESMP system, PO means PO university. Writing convention dia dalam sistem ESMP, sebab apa dia tulis EAC not PO? Sebab nak membezakan PO university dengan PO yang orang lain pakai, fakulti lain pakai dengan PO kita punya. So that's why dia bagi EAC, nama EAC ni. So EAC 1 sampai EAC 13. So if you are given EAC 1 to address, then you can use this guide to write your COs according to this suggestion. Okay, kalau tak mau pening-pening ikut saja, kalau pandai boleh ubah. Tapi ada justification lah. Ada juga yang khusus we saw that there are specialized courses that cannot betul-betul follow yang ni, then kita boleh ubah. But you need to know why you change. Kalau if you don't know, if you are not sure, just follow this guide, because we have given deep thoughts on these levels, on this complex problem solving as well as the knowledge profile. So gunakan ni. Ada yang faham tak? Ada yang tak faham boleh tanya. Kalau something like this, ni EAC4 investigation only one PO this time, kan? Compared to the 2021, which is the PO has been broken down into 2. Ni. So actually it is cognitive because dia merungkai masalah kompleks dengan menggunakan kaedah penyelidikan berasaskan pengetahuan. Berasaskan pengetahuan. Dan pengetahuan termasuklah reka bentuk, including termasuk reka bentuk pengetahuan. Pengetahuan tu dekat atas, no, termasuk tu kat bawah. So that's why you can combine this. This is the dominant one. Dominant domain is cognitive, but you can pair with psychomotor juga. If you have lab that will require EAC4, you can always combine that with P. Tapi yang kita bagi ni yang mesti ada lah. Mesti ada. So if you are given EAC4, you need to address yang mapping dia. Kita buat siap-siap dah ni. Hasil pembelajaran mapping dia siap-siap dah. Hasil pembelajaran dengan previous curriculum dengan hasil pembelajaran UPM ada 10 kan. Yang tu kalau siapa tak tahu, UPM ada 10 tau. PO kita yang standard yang digunakan dalam UPM lah. Ada 10. So kita map siap-siap dah kat sini. You can see here the mapping ya. And WK8. Whenever you have EAC 4, you need to address WK8 because this is outlined by EAC. And which WP? We suggest to you 2 and 3, WP2 and WP3. And the taxonomy level at least C4 kan? At least C4 up to C6 lah. Okay. What else yang agak confusing? Yang ni, modern tool usage ni. Merangka, memilih dan menggunakan sumber teknik kejuruteraan moden untuk peralatan IT requires tools. So the dominant one will be the psychomotor. Okay, and how to use tools. That's why the suggestion should be minimum P4 and sebab dia ada dalam knowledge profile WK and C5 and C6. Sebab you have to plan, you have to choose, you have to use resources, you have to design techniques and so on for the usage of the modern tool. Ni. What else? Apa lagi? EAC 8 ethics, kognitif nah. In the previous curriculum dia punya two main dominant domain dia adalah A. But in this one it's cognitive sebab menggunakan prinsip etika dan etizen selaku profesional dia dalam knowledge profile domain. Boleh C tapi boleh gabung dengan A, tak ada masalah. You put A as well, tak ada masalah. Any C but you can put A. What else? EAC 10. Yang ni EAC 10 ni effective domain, kemahiran komunikasi. Okay. At least 2 EA kena ada. At least 2 EA. Right? Ni yang boleh dipadankan ni, tak ada masalah. You do see cognitive but you can also padankan dengan effective. Ni kita dah bagi dah guide ni. So we have given you the guide for you to write ni. Write new CEOs kan, dah buat dulu kan. But what happens to the new, what happens to the previous curriculum 2016 to 2020? Kenalah buat yang sama. Maksudnya that means you can create this jadual, this mapping that looks like this yang bawah ni. This mapping for your 2016 to 2020 curriculum too, using the same guide, because we have already given you the mapping of 14 POs as well as UPM PO. Dah bagi dah siap. Whenever you are asked to, for example, PO 8 kan, whenever you are asked to do PO 8 in 2016-2020 curriculum, you can address PO 8 using WK7 and WP4 and 6. Tak payah dia teruk fikir dah, tapi kena buat lah. So whenever you want to plan the activities, you look at this map, okay, mapping, and you can plan the activities, teaching, learning activities to cater for these requirements. Do the same thing for your 2016 to 2020 curriculum. Patutnya buat lama dah kan? Patutnya buat lama dah. Tapi ada juga yang 2018 revision. 2016 to 2020 curriculum, we had 2018 revision kan? 2018 punya edition kan? In 2018 punya edition, I can see that some of the buku, I think all of the buku curriculum at that particular time ada letak something like this. Letak khusus and what EA, WK, WP need to cater. But I've checked, quite a number of them are not according to EAC standard 2020. So that's why we have to follow EAC standard 2020 now. Okay, even for the previous curriculum. Okay, saya nak stop share ni, nak share balik slides. Nah. Yang ni bukan yang tadi tak? Tak apalah. Okay. So, using that particular guide, now in your buku curriculum should have this because every department dah buat ni. So, using that particular guide, now you can decide. For example, seminar kejuruteraan, CO1, ni dah ada COPO mapping. So, COPO mapping is ready here. Kan? You don't have to, masa nak isi RP baru nak fikir. Lepas tu dah fikir, lepas tu ambil jelah, fikir lah. Okay? So now it has been planned from the beginning. CO2, for example, EAC 6, CO2, EAC 12, CO3, EAC 10. So what are the program, what are the WK profiles? Whenever you have 6, 12, and 10, of course, whenever you have 6, of course, you need to cater for WK. Which WK? WK7 from the guide. From the guide, it says the most suitable WK is WK7. And WP mana? From the guide says 1, 5, 6. EA tak payahlah. Bukan EAC 6. But EA needed for EAC 10 down here. Bawah ni kan. EAC 10 dah tick engineering activity. Which one? Which one? 2 and 5. Kan? Taxonomy dah siap dah kat sini. So if you see this jadual, whenever you do teaching plan, you can see this jadual and plan to cater for WK, WP, EA. Okay. COPO mapping tu boleh tak kalau satu CO tu banyak EAC? Boleh? Jawapan dia boleh. Saya tanya, saya jawab. Tapi ni sebab orang tanyalah, saya jawab kat sini ya. Tak nak tunjuk. Okay. Ini KKK punya nah, saya ambil contoh nah. Yang ni ENG. ENG ni khusus these are coordinated courses at TDA level. Common courses nah. Okay. Boleh tak? Boleh tak? Can one CO cater for different POs? Yes. Or the other way around? Yes. Okay. For example, pengaturcaraan komputer CO2, it is assigned, it is catering for PO5 and PO9. Ni boleh dua. CO1 latihan industri banyak kan? So remember, the minimum PO assignment is normally 3 to 4. There are courses that are given more POs for some certain reasons. But remember, even though it is 3 to 4 POs, you can see that the WK, the WP, and the EA that you need to cater as well. So WP dah 3 kena buat, WK 1 for example. Dah ada berapa banyak benda yang kat belakang anak-anak dia tu yang kena cater, not just the PO. And the teaching plan must address the PO with associated WK, WP and EA. Sebelum ni tak buat kan? Sebab tak ada pun dalam syllabus, tak appear pun dalam syllabus. Kita buat RP tengok syllabus je kan? Okey, lepas. Okey, saya nak tunjuk RP yang dibuat oleh grup seminar ni. Ni. Mari kita tengok dia punya RP. Thank you Dr. Salah for sharing. I think because this is the first time. Last semester was the first semester that we apply curriculum baru ni kan. So we see on seminar punya course nah. Okay, you see ni teaching plan engineering seminar shared by Dr. Salah and the team seminar ni. Seminar will have to cater EAC 6, 12 and 10. WK 7, WP 156, okay, according to the guide. And EA 2, 2 EA lah. 1 WK, 3 WP, 2 EA. EA dia 2 and 5. Level of interaction and familiarity of issues. Tengok dalam slide saya tu, I put up the description already. kalau tak sure apa benda level of interaction tu dengan familiarity of these issues, cuba tengok balik description dia. Okay. So level of interaction would requires community involvement of communities and so on. Familiarity of issues would be engineering issues. Ada tak? The question is that ada tak? Yang lain tu nanti kita tengok kemudian lah. For the sake of today, kita tengok EA2 dengan EA5 ada tak dalam teaching plan? Address tak? Kan? Teaching and assessment plan ni kan? Ada tak level of interaction dengan familiarity of issues? Kalau group seminar ada kat sini, boleh share lah. Kat mana duduk dia? Kat mana?
Kat mana? Ni pertanyaan soalan nak kena jawab ni.
Soalan. Ada pun lupa nak buat tanda soal. Kat mana? Macam tu. Okey, Dr. Salah kan nak jawab. Okay. Ada tak? EA1.
EA2 tu ialah level interaction. That means our activities should involve not only among us lah. Should involve multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary. So there are a few weeks here where we involve the participation, interaction with other faculties, the industry, international universities pun ada. Contoh ada I think the later weeks. Yes, contoh dengan Sulam tu number 8, we involve with other faculties lah, and then and then we also while they share their experience talking about the committees, and then number 9, yes, we also the activities with professional and societies, dan juga minggu ke-13 rasanya. This one we talk 12, sorry. 12 we involved with international community lah. Bukan engineering student but other the architecture students. So that one cater for EA2 activity. EA5 sekejap saya check EA5 apa dah lupa lah. Tak ingat. Oh, year 5 extend beyond previous experiences by applying principle-based approach. Primitive issues Oh, sorry. Primitive issues. Contoh
Betul?
kita dalam ni, kita when we talk about primitive issues ni involve infrequently encountered issues and novel problem. Contoh pandemic, there's an infrequently encountered issue is a novel problem juga. Climate change is a novel problem. It's not yet solved. So those examples ada dibincangkan dalam topik nombor
Ni.
11 ada
Week
climate
11.
change. And then also we talk about academic integrity because right now cheating in exams ke apa ke makin berleluasa waktu online. So that is also an infrequently encountered issues. Kita ada bincang ada satu minggu tu, saya rasa week 6 kot. Prof Alyani pun salah satu speakers. We talk about this. So those are example of activities yang melibatkan complex engineering activities.
Okay, thank you Dr. Salah. Nampak tak? Itu baru EA2 dengan EA5. Belum cerita lagi WK7 156 untuk WP. Kan? Yang tu lagi detail. Yang tu yang kena masuk macam Dr. Anas tanya tadi. Nak tengok assessment. Normally yang dekat part sini WK knowledge profiles and problem solving ni, complex problem ni, dekat assessment banyak kita tengok so harmonization of PO ni you have to handle it with care. We only change assignment of PO when it is absolutely necessary. Okay, not because because it has to be by design. The first one, it has to be following the default, the design, the buku curriculum. Whatever change you want to do, please record the changes. Okay, and the justification for changes. Why? Because EAC is very particular. Remember that EAC will get your documents, will get your buku curriculum, but when you do at operational level, there are things changes that are not documented, and EAC will ask. Yang ni yang banyak yang kita tengok in our interim practices last time, interim report practices, we address the concerns, and we can see that harmonization would be picked up by the EAC panel, and only if it is absolutely necessary, not just because PO10 dah ramai orang buat, mari kita buang PO10 terus buatlah. Not as easy as that. Kan, tapi ada buat kan. Okay. And this is the must read documents, must. Bukan pilihan, it's not an option. You are an educator at UPM in engineering, so you have to memorize. Ni ada hehe belakang tu, faham lah nak. Kalau boleh memorize lah, but dah faham lah, kita tua-tua ni bukan nak boleh memorize semua, but you have to know where it comes from. You have to know where it come from. Katalah, why 12 POs? Why 13 POs? Nanti you boleh explain why. Because EAC standard says this. Why buat assessment macam ni? Because EAC standard says this. Masa tu you can, it is much easier if you can not word by word, but at least the hasrat of EAC standard tu kena baca lah. Ni memorize. Curriculum book. Kalau you EAC standard ni, if you are academic coordinator, hafal. If you are in TDA office, hafal. If you are TDA, hafal. If you are dean, hafal. Senang tak? Boleh tak bagi arahan macam tu? Prani kata hafal. Prani hafal tak? Hafal hasrat dia. Tapi I know where dekat mana dia ada, apa yang tak ada. So bukan hafal secara sembrono, tapi apa yang ada, apa yang tak ada dalam tu. Kita boleh tahu. Okay, number 2, mesti adalah curriculum book. Make sure you have a copy of the latest version. If you don't have copy, please ask your PTJAP ataupun academic coordinators to give you the latest version. Bukan version yang dulu-dulu lah. Kan ada banyak version that is approved by the Senate. Okay, curriculum book. Make sure you have a copy and read it. Not just for your course, but for the whole program for you to understand as well. And last but not least, this is a very important document, kaedah-kaedah UPM perkara akademik prasiswazah kena follow, because EAC standard is very general. all the requirements, all the how we do things, operational level involve this kaedah-kaedah akademik. Because people keep asking, ni EAC suruh ke? Ada ke tak? Tak ada pun dalam EAC standard. Memang tak ada. Tapi dalam kaedah UPM ada. Perkara akademik UPM ada. Nah? You know where the directive come from? Sama ada daripada UPM ke, daripada engineering ke. But anyway, anything that is in EAC standards, override whatever in kaedah UPM kalau dia tak sebut. Nah? So kena tahu punca kuasa dia kat mana. Barulah kita boleh jawab dengan senang. Bukanlah nak jawab saja, barulah kita boleh plan, kita boleh execute, kita boleh improvise. Apa benda yang tak sure, yang tak ada tertulis kat mana-mana, itu bahaya. Tulis pun bahaya, tak tulis pun bahaya, betul tak? Okay, and don't stop learning lah. It is a process on the road to be an excellent educator. Nah? So I think that's about it. For my presentation, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Prof No. Ada slides tadi Prof No yang Prof No present, saya ambil juga. TDA and TDA office team, Prof Wan and Rose, banyak Rose, Nora, Arif, team TDA office ni banyak. E²IG task force led by Dr. Laudin, faculty management, deans, KJs and so on. Academic coordinators ni orang-orang kuat kita dekat sini, faculty members and all supporters lah. So I end with a quote that from Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou said, I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better. So now you attend ni, all of you ni berapa orang? 53 orang yang tolak satu, 52 orang. 52 orang yang attend this, including me lah, 53 lah, we learn also today. Those ni, kita ni 53 orang will have to do better because you know better. Once you know better, you have to do better. Improvise your practices, your understanding. Okay.